Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Spurs Up Show. This is episode 19. We're going to be recapping the Kentucky game today that went down Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. First, before we get started, if you do want to follow the show, be sure to check us out on iTunes at the Spurs Up Show. Be sure to go there, rate and subscribe. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like about the show. We appreciate all the feedback. Also, be sure to follow us on our Twitter account at ArmchairSCar. That's at ArmchairSCAR. Check us out on Instagram as well at ArmchairSCarolina. And this is also a podcast brought to you by the Armchair All-Americans, armchairallamericans.com, localizing your sports coverage content. Be sure to go check us out on armchairallamericans.com for obviously the podcast as well as all the South Carolina latest breaking news articles there as well. So, like I said, we are going to recap the Gamecocks' 23-13 loss to the Kentucky Wildcats on Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. I'm joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Tyler Clark. Tyler, first want to ask you, obviously, I kind of know how you're feeling, but how's everything going? How you doing on this Monday afternoon?
Well, after the events of Saturday, I've been sick for the last 2 days, so not too hot. Patriots won yesterday, so that's cool. Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. Don't want to hear it. Yeah, you can still hear it in my voice. I don't have one, basically, and I didn't have one all of yesterday because of Saturday night.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into that. I promise, Tyler. I'm going to let you obviously break down everything from your end and from my end as well. We'll dive into it. So right before we do, just want to go over some notable stats from the game Saturday, as we always do. Looking over at the box score, South Carolina actually did outgain Kentucky total yardage-wise. They had 358 to Kentucky's 353 in total yardage. South Carolina won the passing statistics by a large margin. The Gamecocks threw for 304 yards, Kentucky for just 169. However, the rushing game was abysmal, to say the least. South Carolina ran for 54 yards on total, less than 3 yards a carry. Kentucky for 184 yards. Time of possession, South Carolina got dominated in that stat as well. Kentucky held the ball for 36 minutes and 49 seconds. To South Carolina's just 23 minutes and 11 seconds. And the biggest stat really to look at on third downs, Kentucky was 9 of 16 on third down. They were 6 of 8 in the first half as well. South Carolina just 3 of 12, and they were also 1 of 3 on fourth down with a couple of critical stops as well. Some individual stats, Jake Bentley overall, pretty solid game, 24 for 36, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Rico Dowdle, just 8 carries for 23 yards on the day. But Deebo Samuel with a big day, 5 catches, 122 yards for a touchdown, including the opening play of the game, which he took to the house. Sky Moore and T.J. Brunson had big days on defense. Sky Moore with an interception early in the game. T.J. Brunson leading the team in tackles once again with 10. And for Kentucky, Steven Johnson went 16 of 25, 169 yards for an interception. And Benny Snell, their running back, ran 32 times for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, first, want to get your initial reactions, Tyler, to the game before we dive into obviously the game and our thoughts on it, because I know we have a lot to say. I know you have a lot to say. I know I have a lot of thoughts on it as well. One thing I do want to give kudos to and credit to the fans of Williams-Brice Stadium. I thought the atmosphere Saturday around game day, and especially the atmosphere right before kickoff and the beginning of the game, was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best I've seen. It was a packed house. I thought everybody was wearing black. The student section, I was really impressed, was really rowdy. Talk about your experience in the student section, kind of what you thought of just the entire game day atmosphere at Williams-Brice Saturday night.
I'm kind of cutting out here, but student section was cool. A lot of people. You could tell there was a lot of freshmen that didn't really know during Sandstorm, but it was just like a lot of games we've seen. But everyone's wearing black, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the atmosphere was really good, especially after the first touchdown. But then, after some blown opportunities, we kind of just got mellowed out the entire game, which wasn't really good. But they didn't have much to cheer about to begin with.
Yeah, that's diving into it. Obviously, it's kind of inevitable. We talk about.
Yeah, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, the game itself. South Carolina gets off to just a crazy start. I mean, it wasn't a touchdown. It wasn't a kickoff return for a touchdown, but literally the first play of the game, Jake Bentley fakes the Rico Dowdle on the handoff, hits Deebo Samuel on the slant. He goes, I think, 68 yards or so for the touchdown.
68.
Yeah, 68 yards for the touchdown to start the game. The place is going crazy. South Carolina misses the extra point, sort of put a damper on it. Little did we know it was a sign of things to come in that game. But literally the next drive, I think the third overall play of the game, Sky Moore gets an interception, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, things are about to get rolling right now. I thought South Carolina's about to go up 13-0, 14-0, what have you. Things are about to get rolling. What was your I guess I'll ask you first, Tyler, what was your kind of your feelings, after Sky Moore gets the pick? Would you have ever expected the game to play out the way it did from that point?
Yeah. I have this superstitious, and literally every time I see someone miss an extra point, like everything just goes downhill from there. It always does. All the time. Then we get the pick. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then everything that happened after that is just awful.
Yeah. It's definitely never. It's always a sickening feeling when you miss a PAT because it's just so easy and it's just like
it always comes.
It always comes back to haunt you. And maybe at that point, in points wise, it didn't for South Carolina, but definitely for just psyche of the kicking game, psyche of the game in general. And diving into a little bit on the offense as well. Really, Tyler, it's crazy. We spent all of last week giving kudos to Kurt Roper, and we even formally apologized, but I thought it was a really underwhelming offensive. Man. Yeah, thought it was a really underwhelming offensive play calling game. Really, really vanilla, especially in the running game. I mean, obviously, one time and specifically, South Carolina had 2nd and 1 at the 50, ran up the middle, 3rd and 1, ran up the middle, 4th and 1, decided to run up the middle again, didn't convert on the 4th down at the 50-yard line. The running game was absolutely non-existent all day. The thing that shocked me, Tyler, Tyson Williams, no carries. I think he had like 1 catch or so, but no carries from the back.
For 7 yards. That's
two catches, no carries from the backfield though. And especially in that situation when you have 4th and 1, you want your big back, I would imagine, in there. Tyson's like 215. You put AJ Turner there and say he's 185. Just a really, really bad overall day for Kurt Roper and company on the offensive play calling. It just, and I know a lot of fans were asking, why don't you do the same play to the first play of the game with a Debo slant? And I got a lot of guys on Twitter that, critique football for a living, obviously. And, I saw it myself as well being in the stadium. Kentucky really changed up their defensive game plan from that point. They were playing 2 safeties after that the entire time. I think they kind of went away from going on man-to-man because I think they kind of felt like, hey, we can't really cover Debo Samuel. And South Carolina just didn't adjust. I mean, it blew my mind Saturday how little we threw the ball down the field. I mean, really, the next time that South Carolina actually went down the field was the 4th quarter when they had that touchdown drive late, like 6 minutes left in the game, and Jake Bentley goes over the top at Brian Edwards. He makes a play, makes a catch like 20 yards on the field or so. I mean, it seemed really short, vanilla, predictable offense to me. Tyler, I'll let you chime in. What was your take, if you will, on the offensive play calling, and what would you? I guess let you chime in. What would you grade Kurt Roper overall for Saturday's performance?
F+. My apology to Kurt Roper is completely retracted, and that's gonna hurt for a long time. It's like when you get a 0 in school. It's hard to recover from a 0. He gets a 0. Yeah, Tyson Williams not getting 1. It's not like he was suspended or make the coaches mad or something. He got 2 catches. He was in there. Why not run him on 3rd and short, 2nd and short, 4th and short? I don't understand how you give a goal line carry to AJ Turner. It doesn't make any sense. And then not throwing the ball down the field. I believe Jake Bentley had 16 straight completions at one point in this game. And I don't know if one of them was over 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. The last couple weeks, I've been like, oh, Jake Bentley, he played all right. Didn't play bad, took care of the ball. I don't think he played well at all in this game. That first throw was great, perfect, right on the money to Debo, and the throw to Brian Edwards was great, and the Ortre Smith touchdown was a great decision. Other than that, he missed so many plays that could have just completely prevented all of these stupid play calls on 2nd and short, 3rd and short, 4th and short. He just missed all the throws that needed to be made, and I feel like a lot of what happened in the game could have been prevented. Just some simple throws.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely telling. I mean, the entire offense wasn't clicking. But, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Jake definitely missed some throws. Yeah, I know, like you said, he had like the 14 or 16, whatever it was, straight completions, but none were really down the field. I was disappointed in the lack of shots down the field they took. I mean, I don't really remember one, to be honest, one where they just really took a shot. I mean, the way I look at it, you've got these talented guys on the outside. Let them try to go make a play. I mean, let them make a play for you. I mean, and it's not like, I mean, the offensive line, at least pass blocking, they weren't horrific. They weren't terrible.
No.
They were giving him time to, if he wanted to drop back 5 steps and throw it on the field, he had the time. It just wasn't called. And I mean, the telling stat to me of the entire game, the offense, 7 times they had the ball inside the 40, only came away with 7 points. So, I mean, that you're not going to win any games doing that. I told somebody South Carolina would have lost to anyone doing that. So
exactly. I believe that 100%. We would have lost to literally anybody on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, just no rhythm, no consistency, a ton of dumb penalties where South Carolina, I remember one in particular. I think they had like 3rd and 5 and got back-to-back false starts or something like that. He had 7 penalties on the day.
Delay a game on a field goal that you hit right down the middle, then you make it 52 yards. I mean, we can talk about the field goal kicking all day. I'll just completely take that out. But, man, like the one throw in particular that made me sick is he had all day, rolls out, Brian Edwards is on an island alone, automatic touchdown, and he throws off his back foot and underthrows it. Like, it would have completely – I believe that was the drive. We had 4th and 1 on the 1 and decided to run a shotgun outside run with A.J. Turner instead.
That was a mind-blowing call to me.
Pounding it up the middle.
That was – I will never understand the obsession – I understand people say, like, you want to spread the defense out, but when it's 4th and 1 at the 1 or the inch line, I just don't understand how you don't believe in your O-lineman to get a push of 1 yard. To me, it's my grandfather used to say, if you can't get a yard, you honestly don't deserve to win. So just hand the ball
off. Here's
my
thing. Last year, we had an abysmal offense, and every time we got the ball inside the 10, we ran a jet sweep. If you want to spread the defense out, run a jet sweep. And Debo wasn't in the game, but you could get it. We gave a jet sweep to Hayden Hurst last weekend, and it worked like a charm. Do that again, something, because that play call was idiotic.
Yeah, it was like the inverted veer on NCAA football. That's what it honestly looked like. Because Jake said he was reading the corner. The corner came off. It was just a terrible play. It was a terrible, terrible play on a play where you had to score. Like, you had to score. Like, that can't be the best play in the playbook. Yep. And, I mean, I'll be the first to admit that, I had people behind me, around me. One of the things that irritates me the most when I'm in the stadium is people that think they're smarter than the coaches. Because I don't think if any fan or anyone was smart enough to be calling plays, they'd probably be getting paid to call plays. But, again, that you should be able to be questioned. And Kurt Roper, it was an extremely questionable call, extremely baffling decision. I mean, to think that's the best play call you could have came up with in that situation it's hard to believe. It's not believable. I mean, it's just period. The missed touchdown by Jake. I mean, Ty, let me ask you, how much do you think of it's just that Jake Bentley hasn't played his best game, or maybe that's just the kind of quarterback Jake Bentley is going to be for South Carolina? I know he's still young. I mean, that was only his 10th start. I think he's going to get better, but I think right now it might be kind of the case where maybe Jake Bentley's the kind of quarterback, he's going to have a big game and throw for 300, but he's sort of a gunslinger. He's going to take some shots and throw it into coverage, and he's going to miss some throws he should probably hit, and he's probably going to make some throws that you say, wow, I can't believe he made that throw. I mean, do you think he's just not playing well, or do you think that's the kind of quarterback he's going to be?
I don't know if it's either one of those. I think people just expect too much out of it. I don't think he's a gunslinger because he doesn't throw the ball down the field that much. For the most part, he takes care of the football pretty well, except for, I mean, the second pick was after I had already left. I guess he just, I don't know. Did you see it? Were you in the
yeah. He just basically threw it up. He knew he had to just throw it up. We're down. Yeah. I mean, you're down 10 with a minute left. There's just no point.
So I don't care about that one. I don't care. Like the one to Debo, the other pick in the NC State game, he just threw it down the sideline. They were going to punt it anyway. So, I mean, They told him just throw it as far as you can pretty much.
I think almost sometimes he's too timid. I think almost sometimes he should let it go when he doesn't. I mean, there's a couple times you'll see him like double clutch. It's like, dude, if you think it's there, just let it go, bro. Just let the receiver make a play. I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to get on you for not making a play, but when you double clutch and then get sacked, it's like, I'd almost rather you just if you're throwing it deep down the field, like I said, it's like a punt anyways. I mean, be obviously aware and you want to take care of the football, but man, like just if you think it's there, just let it go. I mean, I thought he was timid a couple times Saturday, but
I think he has the confidence. He's just, I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, I think he'll get better. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He's just got to be more accurate and set your feet on the important throws, and just don't throw it over people's head or underthrow it. It's that simple.
Right, and I mean, I definitely don't think that loss Saturday was Jake Bentley's fault by any means. I thought he played a pretty solid game. I mean, anytime you throw for 300 yards, I mean, they wouldn't even been in that situation of where in the fourth quarter, I mean, it was a one-score game. They wouldn't even been in that situation without Jake Bentley. But the running game just, I mean, we ignored it the first 2 weeks. South Carolina's we gave credit to the NC State D-line. We gave credit to, maybe Missouri's game plan, if you will. But it's clear that South Carolina has a serious inability to run the football. And they're just not going to win a lot of games, a lot more games rushing for 40 yards. The thing that blew my mind today, and I know, like I said, again, I know South Carolina has played some stiff competition at this point, a lot better teams than a lot of other teams can say they've played. But South Carolina right now is 112th in offense in the country. That with the type of players that are on this offense, the type of quarterback, the running backs, all the pieces, there's just no excuse for that. There's no excuse to be that low of production. And we sort of, like I said, we sort of ignored it in NC State when you only had 265 yards offense, the flow of that game, just the way it went. Winning covers up a lot of things. You don't think about a lot of things, but South Carolina's offensive production, especially from the running side, has to just pick it up. I mean, these running backs are too good to be going 8 carries for 23 yards. And I'll be honest, Rico Dowdle's got to step it up. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Rico. I know he's not getting a ton of help from the offensive line, but he don't look like the same guy to me.
A lot of times I noticed, because, I mean, if you're the opposite way from the student section, you notice a lot of things on the offensive line. And there were so many runs. It wasn't just Rico, but, other guys, they'd get a hole, but they just run directly into the defensive tackle, like directly into him when there's clearly a hole. I'm not a running back. I mean, I don't know the X's and O's that well. But, it seems like you'd want to make a cut or try to cut it to the outside, try to cut it to the inside, not just run directly into the guy on 3rd and 1 or 2nd and 5, something like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I know we've already harped on it, but like you said, I mean, you had a guy, Tyson Williams, that was your hottest running back last week, and he doesn't get a touch. That to me is the most inexcusable part. That I don't know how that can happen. I don't know how you can even allow that to happen. I mean, if you're really going to play it, and it goes on Bobby Bentley and Kurt Roper, if you're going to play it by who has the hot hand, wouldn't you think coming into this game, you might be like, he might, carry that momentum from Missouri into this game? That to me.
Not even that, but you see that neither one of the running backs you're playing has the hot hand. Maybe if we use our philosophy correctly, hey, we'll try this third guy. Maybe he'll have the hot hand, and we'll just give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about the first 2 weeks, Tyler, they can, the first 2 weeks we talked about it. They can say whatever they want about the stats not mattering, but if you can't run the ball and you get, you let the other team hold it for 37 minutes and you only get it for 23, you're just going to lose. You're going to lose every game. You need to run the ball for many reasons. Help Jake Bentley out for one, but for two, get your time possession on your side and control the game. I mean, that to me is a given. But Jake Bentley, one thing we got to touch on, unfortunately, Jake Bentley will be without one of his top targets for an extended period of time. Deebo Samuel went down, I believe it was in the 3rd quarter. Fractured his fibula, I believe it was. Is that right, Tyler? Do you know? Bone fracture in his leg.
Said, and then Deebo says it's his ankle. I mean, we still don't have a clear diagnosis.
Either way, it's a leg injury. It's a lower leg injury. At first, Muschamp said in the postgame presser that Deebo Samuel will be done for the season. Deebo Samuel went to Twitter, said he would be 5 to 6 weeks. His mother also said that as well. So I think we're going to get a lot more clarity tomorrow in Will Muschamp's weekly presser that he does. But obviously, either way, Tyler, it's a huge loss for South Carolina. And now it turns to who is South Carolina in this offense going to turn to make explosive plays. It's really it's honestly sad. I mean, for Debo's team, he's fought so hard through injuries and all that to get back to where he was, and the type of start he was having this season, to see him go down is just – it's awful, really. It's awful. So
yeah, I got back to my car after the game. I was just literally furious, and I got back in the car. I was trying to listen to the radio, listen to some callers sound stupid, and then I look at my Twitter and see that, and my heart literally sank. Not so much just because South Carolina's probably going to lose some games because of that, but man, he had 6 touchdowns in like 7 quarters of football. And then something like that happens. It's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, at least hopefully, he'll be able to come back sooner rather than later. Hopefully the 5-week mark puts him probably coming back around week 9, week 10. Probably give him 2 or 3 games and maybe the bowl game. Obviously assuming they make the bowl game. Assuming there is a bowl game.
I don't know.
Yeah, give him at least 2 or 3 more games. From a selfish side – as a South Carolina fan, maybe this almost guarantees he comes back next year. Then again, a guy that has had that many injuries might say screw it and try to go take on the NFL draft. I mean, honestly, what do you have to gain coming back? The possibility of getting hurt again. I don't know. That's looking way, way down the road. But
I honestly don't see him playing again this year. I don't think it's worth playing him, to be honest. I don't think he'll play again this year.
Yeah. Well, with that, yeah. I mean, with that being said, either way, they're going to have to find somebody else to step up at the wide receiver position, and not even just that, just a leader as a playmaker. Moving on to the defense. South Carolina, defensively, I really didn't think I thought they played really well. I mean, they got a really fast start with the Sky Moore pick. He's two interceptions now away from setting the school record for interceptions. The biggest complaint I think all South Carolina fans have, myself included, just the inability to get off the field on third down. I mean, Kentucky was 6 of 8 in the first half. Really, Kentucky over this winning streak, they've had the tendency to gut the South Carolina defense. As far as running the ball, South Carolina knew it was coming, couldn't stop it. I didn't really have that feeling in this game. Kentucky, I really just thought was kind of bleeding the clock. Pesky little 3-4 yard runs. I mean, Benny Snow had a good day, don't get me wrong, but 30 carries for 102 yards. If you'd have told me you'd had that before the game, I probably would have said I'd take it. I mean, it's not great numbers, but I would take it after what Kentucky's done on the ground. And, I mean, Steven Johnson's number, pedestrian 16 of 25 for 169. There's nothing special there. I mean, 100%, Tyler, I don't know. My personal opinion, I don't blame the defense at all for this game. I thought the defense played far well enough to win. Forced 2 turnovers. Again, they were opportunistic. Gave the offense the ball twice inside the 40. Talk about your overall thoughts on the defense and what you saw Saturday night from them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't blame the defense for the loss at all. I mean, if any complaint I have, it's they didn't tackle as well as they did the first 2 games. Other than that, I mean, they forced 2 turnovers. Your offense is supposed to score on turnovers, whether it's a field goal. If you could score 1 point, that'd be cool too. I mean, anything. And they're both inside Kentucky territory. You have to score off a turnover. And, they were both just awful 3 and outs. Like, they weren't even close. So, I mean, after you don't score on 2 straight turnovers, I mean, how much can you depend on the defense to just continuously stop Kentucky? So, I mean, if you can't score points, it's hard for that defense to just keep making stop after stop after stop. And they gave them a chance towards the end of the game. They kept going 3 and out or, going forward on 4th down and not getting it. Stuff like that. I mean, it just wears out the defense. And I don't have the time of possession numbers on me, but I'm pretty sure it was, they were in the mid-30s of time.
Yeah, they held it for 36 minutes and 49 seconds.
Yeah, that's awful. That defense was probably gassed almost the entire game. So, yeah, I don't blame them at all. I mean, Sky Moore getting that pick, I went insane. Probably more insane than I did on the touchdown because I really thought that they were just going to blow it open, and they didn't.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, and that's the thing. I caught one thing I want to address. I caught a lot of flack after the game for my prediction, 41-10 prediction.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I caught it. A lot of people texted me that I didn't even know You even followed Armchair South Carolina. But really what I want to remind people is that game had the makings to be that type of blowout. And if you don't think so, you really should probably go back and watch it. I mean, South Carolina scores on the first play of the game. They get the interception third play of the game. If they score there, let's just pretend they make the extra point, God forbid. It's 14-0. Right there, you got Kentucky down, and they're in a madhouse. I mean, South Carolina's crowd was just itching to go crazy. I mean, you could feel it. I mean, it's just every little thing. That crowd was itching to go insane, and the offense just could give them nothing to get excited about. I mean, you get up 14-0 there, and then the next possession you turn it over again on a fumble. Imagine it's 21-0. I mean, that game had the makings of a blowout, and South Carolina just didn't capitalize. Just period. And I agree with you. Like you said, there's only so much you can ask the defense to do. I mean, after they go get the ball twice in the 40 and can't score, I mean, it's like you're asking the defense to do a lot. I mean, Kentucky's a solid team, and let's not. Kentucky won the ball game fair and square. They deserved to win. They outplayed the Gamecocks. They outclassed the Gamecocks. So you can't ask the defense to do much more than they did than handing the ball on a silver platter to the offense. I mean, if you would have told me before the game that South Carolina would get the ball twice inside the 40 in the first quarter and not get any points, I probably would have said you were crazy. I'd be like, those are 2 touchdowns, easy money. That's it. Easy money, 14-0. Give me the points. I mean, instead, you go 3 and out, like you said. I mean, the one thing I'll say I was very impressed with, T.J. Brunson, who was one of my key matchups, had led the team in tackles. He held C.J. Conrad to just, I think, 36 yards receiving. So T.J. continues to impress. He's definitely progressing. I mean, he's going to be the guy. Obviously, I think we can both agree he's going to be the guy that leads this linebacking core when Sky leaves after this season. I mean, he's a beast. He's played very, very well. I thought. I don't know. You can say Jamarcus King had a subpar game, but I think this is just kind of the Jamarcus King we're going to have to live with.
Yeah.
He didn't have a terrible game. Don't get me wrong, but
there were a few plays, but I'll let it slide.
It's the fans around me. Every time the ball's thrown his way, it's like people yelling, "Turn your head around! Turn your head." I'm like, he's not going to turn his head around, man. Just stop.
I'm still holding to my point that Rashad Fenton is almost an elite SEC cornerback because he had an insane game.
Yeah, I mean that he's doing an insane job because I don't think I've heard his name once.
There you go. I'm telling you.
I haven't even heard it. I feel like I haven't even seen him make a tackle.
There's something to it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, these teams know. I mean, to me, it's just they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it this year. They don't have the depth. But if they had the depth, I would be very interested to see if they would move Jamias Williams down the corner.
Yeah, but
they won't do it simply because of depth. I don't think they can really shuffle them around like that. But it gets to the point, man, where you become a liability at that cornerback position.
Yeah. See, Jamias on that. I guess it was the second play of the game. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I remember yelling his name, like, "Come on!" And then very next play, he makes up for it. He gets a fumble recovery. Or that, I guess that was the second series of the game.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah, Jam had
a big play after you mess up. And
Jam had
that out of Jamarcus King.
Yeah, Jam had it was like a blown coverage or something. Just a bad play. I remember exactly what you said because I remember turning to the guy next to me saying, "Hey, that's how you make up for it." You know what I mean? Got the fumble recovery. But yeah, I mean, I've read a lot, since the game that the bend but don't break defense that finally broke. I mean, they gave up 23 points, but what are you supposed? Like you said, that defense was gassed. I mean, that defense was gassed. What are they supposed to do? Not being able to convert on those turnovers, it just changes the whole layout of the game. It just puts your defense. I mean, it puts your defense in a really, really bad position. I mean, so I think it's sort of unfair to try to sit here and blame the defense for this and that. I mean, because to me, honestly, even when South Carolina threw that touchdown to Ortre Smith in the fourth quarter, I didn't even get that excited because even at that point, I was like, we don't deserve to win this game.
I got really excited because I felt like South Carolina's luck was really, really changing. And I was excited because I really liked Ortre Smith and he finally scored a touchdown. But
yeah, it was like to the point I was so dejected. And by that point, I was like, I I don't really know how we're going to win this game. I don't know that we really deserve to win this game. I mean, obviously, I would have taken the win either way.
Right. I just wanted something to cheer about, and it happened.
But,
and then
right.
I thought we were going to stop them again, and God forbid Jamarcus King just takes the worst angle on a 54-yard quarterback scramble. How do you not have someone covering the quarterback on that?
And especially when that's something Johnson's really capable of doing. You just had nobody in the middle, and just it was painful to watch him. It felt like that was the longest run ever. It felt like he was running in slow motion.
Yeah,
like that play just took. It just watching him. It just took forever. Just like wow.
No,
there goes your chances during the game.
You know the longest run ever? Josh Dobbs, 2014. That run he scored before halftime. That felt like an eternity because I saw it as soon as it happened. Oh, that's one of the worst games I've ever been to. But I won't get into that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, agreed. No, agreed. Now, one thing we're going to talk about as well, because we have to, is the special teams, something that had been, a really bright spot for South Carolina. First two games, all the kickoff returns and solid in the punt game, the coverage game. But one thing that, Tyler, we had talked about is that kickers really hadn't had to do anything. We hadn't really had to kick field goals. Extra points have been made. I think that's something you sort of expect. But it really hadn't been tested in the field goal game, and that showed its ugly face. I guess the first question I have for you is this the worst kicking performance that we've ever seen from a South Carolina team? Like, I don't think I've ever watched a South Carolina game. I mean, first, South Carolina hasn't had to worry about a kicker in a while. They really haven't.
Really spoiled with great kickers.
That might be the worst kicking performance I've ever seen, period. I mean, that was brutal. That was brutal. I mean, Parker White's named the starting kicker now. He went 0 for 2, misses a 52 and 54 yards. Alexander Wozniak missed a field goal as well. Obviously the missed extra point to start the game, like you said, just puts a bad feeling in your stomach. Man, Tyler, let's talk about the kickers. I mean, what did you
close?
See
like, I don't know what there is to say. I think the missed extra point kind of ruined their confidence, to be honest. I think if they make that extra point, they at least make one of those field goals. The 47-yarder, he split right down the middle, and there was a delay of game. How do you have a delay of game on a field goal? How? I don't understand.
Agreed, yeah.
So he would have made that one, and then, every time someone gets iced like that, they're going to miss. But
yeah. What was the one? Was it Wozniak that had like the kick where it's like it felt like he just chunked it? Like I don't know if it was him. I think it was him because I think the 54-yard, maybe it wasn't. There was one kick though where literally I think it was Wozniak that kicked it and he pushed it right, and literally the second it came off his foot, you just hear the whole crowd go, "Oh my God!"
I remember that.
I mean,
it
wasn't. That's the craziest thing. These kicks aren't like going up and turning. They're not even good off the foot. I mean, it's like when you hit a putt and literally the second it comes off the putter, you're like, nope, it's no chance. It has no chance from the second it comes off the putter. That's how these kicks work. I mean, to think. I mean, I know that they're a lot better than they show. They have to be because they have to name someone a starting kicker. They have to do it in practice, but you would think that they'd have more trouble. I mean, obviously Wozniak missed his first one on the road at Missouri. Then he made the second one. You think they'd kick better at home. But, I mean, I don't know if the too amped up or nervous in front of 80,000 people. You can't simulate that, obviously. But it was so crazy. I just remember him kicking that, the whole stadium just, oh, God. Just not even close.
I went into the kicks. I didn't think he was going to make any of them, to be honest. So, I mean, if he had just made one of them, or either one of them would have made one of them, I would have been impressed. But because after that extra point, I mean, that's the first time we missed an extra point in 4 years.
Because Elliott Fry never missed one, right?
There you go.
He missed his first one. I don't think he ever missed one, actually. But you think about it, I mean, as bad as South Carolina played, 3 missed field goals and a missed extra point.
You lose by 10.
Yeah. I mean, that's the craziest thing. And, I mean, honestly, if you make those field goals, it probably changes the entire psyche of the game because it's a lot different coming away with points than it is, just coming nothing.
Right.
So
you get something. You get to kick off the ball. And
right, exactly.
Good field position, stuff like that.
Yeah, so like I said, Parker White gets the starting job. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of questions to answer in the kicking game, special teams overall. And now, speaking of special teams, the Deebo Samuel injury, you're going to have somebody new returning kicks. Do they let a young guy like a Shi Smith or Jemias Williams return? Do they put Rico Dowdle back there? I mean, somebody else has got to go with A.J. Turner. I mean, I saw they shuffled in a bunch of different guys.
I believe in the third quarter after Deebo was hurt, I think it was Rico and A.J. Turner back there.
Right.
I may be wrong because, I mean, I was almost –
No, I saw Rico back there as well. Why not put Rashad Fenton back there? I mean, he returned one against LSU 2 years ago. I don't know why. I mean,
I guess if you lose Fenton, your defense is completely shattered. The depth on defense kind of ruins that idea.
Yeah, you're screwed. You're screwed. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
you can't expect to just run back touchdowns every week either. So
no, that's true.
We were spoiled there.
And you're not going to replace Deebo Samuel. There's nobody on the roster that's going to have the kind of ability he has to make those plays. At least nobody that we know about. So
yeah, just catch the ball and either run, let it go out of bounds, or get it back to the 20.
Exactly. Yeah, and that kind of leads me in, Tyler, to like some of my key takeaways I want to talk about. The first thing that we mentioned, I mean, a new leader at wide receiver has to step up. Who's it gonna be? We saw Ortre Smith get the big touchdown catch. Is he going to be a guy that's going to be dependable? I mean, I think obviously now Brian Edwards is your number one go-to. You've got guys like Shi Smith. I mean, again, we mentioned Ortre Smith. Chad Terrell caught a pass Saturday night. Randricus Davis is back and healthy in the fold. I thought he looked pretty good, actually. He's a pretty quick guy out there. You've got guys, again, the tight end group, Hayden Hurst. Guys like maybe finally Casey Crosby will start getting the ball. Actually, before I say that, though, he had a bad drop Saturday. I'm not going to – I don't know if you remember that. He had one hit him right in the hands.
Which one?
Casey Crosby had one.
Yes.
He had a bad drop Saturday. I mean, I don't know that it really would have gone for more than like a 7 or 8 yard gain.
No, yeah.
It hit him right in the chest.
I know Brian had one, too, that was like a quick slant and right in his hands dropped it.
Right.
But, those kind of plays didn't affect the game.
Right. Exactly. But, yeah, I mean, guys like Casey Crosby needs to step up. Even maybe Akil Pollard, just somebody else. There's got to be some new leaders at wide receiver, like I said, with Brian Edwards leading the way. I think they're going to have to use Ortre Smith a ton now. Get Chad Terrell reps. They've got a good opponent coming up to do it against in Louisiana Tech, even though they're a solid team. No, all due respect, should be able to team you can get some guys in, find out who are going to be the leaders kind of at that position. And Tyler, I think the number one thing, honestly, to take away from this is South Carolina is just not going to win many more games without a running game. I mean, the inability to run the football, you just can't. Jake Bentley's a really good quarterback. Let's give him all the credit in the world, but he's just not going to win a lot of games by himself. Nope. It's just not going to do it. And I tell people over and over, football it will always be a game of who controls the line of scrimmage, and the team that runs the ball and stops the run is the team that's going to win. It just every single week. And I watched, I'm not sure if you watched the Will Muschamp TV show, whatever. He did it. Well, I watched it today, actually. He said something that I completely agree with. He said he told the team before they left the hotel, I can promise you, most likely, if we're standing here after the game and I'm telling you that we ran for more yards than they did, we probably won the game. But if they ran for more yards than we did, I can't guarantee you that we're going to win the game. And I mean, with South Carolina's ability to throw the ball, even when Kentucky knew they were throwing, they were able to still kind of move it downfield. Imagine if that running game gets going. I think you have to be able to run the football. They've got to find a way. They've got to find some sort of consistency and rhythm with these running backs, because what they're doing right now is just not going to cut it.
They just got to get more creative, man. I mean, it seems like, the play call
that too.
Getting back to like it was last year. You're not taking chances. There's no creativity whatsoever. It's just maybe in the Kentucky game. I mean, I loved the play calling in the Missouri game. I thought they were aggressive, but I don't think they were in Kentucky at all. And I'd love to hear reasoning behind it, because I don't think that Kurt Roper just went out there and just said, "Hey, let me just call an awful game here. I don't want to score." There has to be some kind of logical reasoning, behind the things that they did. And I think tomorrow is going to be really telling in Muschamp's press conference. We're going to learn a lot. I'm excited to watch that press conference to hear pretty much everything that went down, because we didn't hear much after Saturday night's press conference.
No, yeah, agreed. It was really vanilla Saturday. And It blows my mind because in that type of game, everything has been so hyped up. The athletic department's hyped it up for just since August, really. I mean, this felt like it kind of had the atmosphere of one of the bigger, night games at Williams-Brice, kind of like the days of, when you played Georgia at night. I know it's Kentucky. It's not the brand name, but this was a big game. I mean, this was a really, really, really big game.
It was an opportunity more than anything.
Yeah,
That's why I was so just dejected.
Yeah, it was an opportunity to kind of put South Carolina, just show the world, like, hey, South Carolina, we're for real. Kentucky hasn't surpassed us in the SEC and the SEC East, anything of that nature. Put all that talk to rest. And instead, that wasn't the night to come out and be vanilla on offense. It wasn't the night to not take shots. I mean, if you're going to go down swinging. Yep. Go down with your best. Don't go down with this vanilla play calling, this conservative running, this. I mean, honestly, I'll tell you this. If South Carolina can't get a yard on 3 straight plays, then they don't deserve to win. Just period, bottom line. But if you get stopped on 2nd and 1 and you get stopped on 3rd and 1, you might want to switch something up. Not saying you don't have to run it, but you might want to go to something else, a different set, a different just anything. Just mix it up a little bit. And I don't know. Like I said, again, I'm not the person that understands when you're 4th and 1 on the 1 why you don't go in the I formation and just hand the ball. I mean, I'd rather get stuffed that way. QB sneak it.
Just jump over the line. Try something.
Just something creative. Anything. Or I'd rather you throw the fade route than do what they did. I mean, let Brian go up and get the football.
Let Blake Mitchell come throw a fade to Sidney Ryan. Something.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a humbling loss. I mean, South Carolina, the one thing I wanted to say, because I listened to a little bit of 107.5 the game today, Tyler, and everyone's obviously just so negative, putting the team down, just all this, the sky is falling type mentality. And, that's to be expected. I mean, obviously, South Carolina fans take this very, very seriously. And this is, this was a huge missed opportunity, like you said. And it's inexcusable to lose to Kentucky, let alone lose to Kentucky 4 years in a row. But the one thing I want to say is this can be a really big learning opportunity for South Carolina because they are still a young team. If they can refocus, regroup, learn from – because honestly, I think South Carolina might have got the big head. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can come into a game and play that flat in front of a crowd that's that fired up. I mean, in a game that, like you said, is that big of an opportunity for the entire program – I don't know if they thought they were just going to roll their helmets out there and win or what they thought, but it just didn't look like they were ready to play.
I agree. I don't understand. Did you watch the video that they had coming out of the tunnel and then they go out into sandstorm and stuff like that?
I did, yeah, and I saw like Hayden Hurst was pumping up the crowd and
like that got me hyped. So I mean, I don't think they weren't ready to play. They just played poorly.
Yeah, I guess more so poor execution. Tyler, what were your? I guess I know we have a ton of takeaways that we have from the game. Was there anything to you that like you're taking away from this game? Moving, not so much even about the game, but moving into the rest of the 2017 season.
Yeah, you got to be able to run the ball. I mean, everyone was promised 3 running backs and how great they're going to be, and you're going to give it to the guy with the hot hand. That didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. So this week's going to be really telling against Louisiana Tech. I mean, your crowd that you would have had for Louisiana Tech probably dropped by a good 10,000 by losing to Kentucky. This is going to be a hard game to get hyped for probably. I mean, I'm not even jacked. I don't even want to go. So, I mean, they're going to have a hard time getting ready for that game, I feel. And they got to come out and prove something. They got to use it to prove something because, I mean, I predicted to be 2-1 after 3 games, but not like that. I mean, that's just bad.
Yeah, and that's actually – I was looking ahead, obviously our listener questions. That's something that somebody had said that, that's – I don't want to look at it like the sky is falling because, like you said, if you asked any South Carolina fan, hey, I'll give you 2-1 after the 3 games, everyone would have taken it. But like you said, 2-1 losing to Kentucky is just – that's tough. That's really tough.
You're not being competitive in the game either.
The way you lost too. I mean, it'd be different if you were in a dogfight and lost at the end. It's like, hey, like,
right,
whatever. But
moral victory.
to come out and not even be competitive on your home turf it's a hard pill to swallow. It's a tough loss. I mean, Tyler, what do you think the impact for the South Carolina program? I don't want to get to it because I just feel like this has been harped on so much. I don't want to get too deep into this, but what do you think the overall impact on the program is, the perception of South Carolina football, recruiting impact? What impact do you think happened Saturday night from that game?
I don't think recruits are going to, decommit based on one game, but it doesn't help. It doesn't help for the 4-star guys that were there, like Chandler, what's his name? Tyndall?
Channing Tyndall, yeah. Channing Tyndall.
Dax Hollifield and Rick Sandage. I mean, I think Rick Sandage is going to commit here anyways, but guys, 4-star guys like that, I mean, they see this great environment, then they go see the team that they're potentially going to go play for just lay an egg. So I never played football, so I don't see it from their standpoint, but I don't know if they see it like, wow, they didn't prepare well, or wow, I could go help them.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's the what Muschamp will pitch to these guys is, hey, you can come, you got a chance to play right away with us, especially in our areas of need, for sure. So one thing, I don't want to touch on this too much, but I feel like I had to bring it up. The failure of the 2001 revamped interest with the Flames, only one of the, I don't even know what they're called, one of the stands with the Flames that come out, only one of them went off out of 4. Just pretty much summed up the entire night.
I noticed it, but I didn't think anything about it for the rest of the game until I saw it.
I didn't either, but it's, yeah.
And I was like, wow, they really did screw that up.
They did for sure. So yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. It's maddening that South Carolina lost for a 4th straight year. It's hard to really put into words. I mean, I don't, and it's hard to swallow and say that Kentucky right now is ahead of South Carolina is, because I don't genuinely down deep really believe that. I just don't think that Kentucky in football is a better football program than the University of South Carolina. I really don't think that. And, giving fans a little perspective, Tommy Moody made a great point in 107.5 the game. He was talking about it, obviously, and he said, this isn't in the world. I mean, things can change really quickly. If you just think 4 years ago, South Carolina had beaten Clemson 5 years in a row. Look at now. Look where Clemson is as a program now. Look at South Carolina. So things can change very quickly, and I don't want South Carolina fans to have this woe is me, sky is falling, the season is over, because South Carolina still has some winnable games coming up. You beat Louisiana Tech. It's a game you should definitely win. You're 3-1 going to Texas A&M that's in some real trouble. I mean,
a train wreck.
There's still a lot to play for. I mean, there's still a lot to play for. This one's a tough game, and the best thing for South Carolina to do, we'll talk more about it on our next show later this week, but the best thing South Carolina can do is go out and play a solid football game on Saturday and get a win and get this taste out of their mouth.
Right.
That is the absolute best thing that this program can do. So one thing we're going to do, we're going to give out game balls, Tyler, even in a loss. We got to give out game balls. I'll go first. For offense, I'm going to go Jake Bentley, honestly. I know he didn't play his best game, but I just think without number 19, South Carolina's offense would be in a world of hurt. I don't know if they just scored a point with Brandon McElwain back there. So, I mean, Jake Bentley needs some help. I still give him credit for hanging in there, though, playing his tail off. Throw for over 300 yards, like I said. And then on defense, I mentioned him earlier that I'm going to go T.J. Brunson. Did a great job in covering their tight end, C.J. Conrad. Led the team in tackles. Like I said, he's just a guy coming into his own, being a real leader of this defense. So, I thought that T.J. Brunson played another outstanding game. So.
All right, I'll go with Deebo Samuel because he had me really excited for just a few minutes to start out the night. That was a great play call. I don't know how I watched the replay for the first time today. I don't know how he beat those safeties down the field because they took a good angle and he still beat them. So I'll give that to Deebo Samuel. And on defense, I want to go Sky Moore. Can I get the 2? Can I get the tie?
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
The defensive line didn't play that well, but Dante Sawyer was in the backfield almost every single play. I feel like he had a really good night, and Sky Moore, that interception really could have changed the game. It's not his fault that the offense, didn't execute. So both of them, he really stood out to me on defense.
Awesome. All right. Well, perfect. Well, as you can imagine, Tyler, after a loss, we've got a ton of listener questions. I'm going to pick a couple out of here. I don't want to – there's some of them that are just really long.
I like this top one.
Yeah, I can – yeah. So this one comes from Twitter at Gamecock Blogger. The first question, worst loss in the Muschamp era, Kentucky 2017, USF 2016, Clemson 2016, or other? Tyler, I'll let you start with that one. What do you think the worst loss of the Muschamp era is to this point?
Clemson 1,000,000 gazillion %. That was absolutely the worst performance I've ever seen of South Carolina football. That's why I want to answer that, because that was awful. We're overreacting about this Kentucky thing. If we would have just showed up and forced 2 turnovers in a couple of minutes against Clemson last year, a lot of people would have been happy. So the Clemson loss is way more demoralizing than this Kentucky loss, because there are still 9 games after this one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This one's pretty bad, just because of everything that was on the line. Like you said, the opportunity this game presented, and it's not even that. It's the way this game was hyped up with the blackout that was announced a month ago, with everything riding on this game. But I will agree with you. Clemson was a horrible loss, and that was just not even a competitive game.
It was humiliating.
But
that's a good word.
I'm going to go with this Kentucky game just because won the national championship. So it's like that one hurt, but okay, they're just that much better than us. But to lose to Kentucky for a 4th year in a row to a Mark Stoops coach team, yeah, it's maddening. Next question, Gamecock Blogger's got a couple, so we're going to roll through them. How do our bowl chances look at this point? Tyler, I'll go first. I still think pretty good. You're 2-1. You got winnable games. You should be 3-1 after this weekend. No, the thing about it is a lot of teams that you play don't look very good either. So that's one thing I try to keep in perspective. I mean, as bad as South Carolina fans feel, how do you think LSU fans, Texas A&M fans, Tennessee fans, there's a lot of fans right now that don't feel good this week. So I think their bowl chances honestly look pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they changed at all. So, I mean, you still have 2 very winnable games. I don't say very winnable. You should win against Louisiana Tech, and you should beat Wofford. That puts you at, 4 wins?
4 wins,
if you can't beat 2 more teams out of the rest of the schedule, then who are we kidding?
Right. You got some issues. Let's see. Is Kurt Roper the issue with the offense? Bentley is missing throws, and the run game is abandoned and ineffective. Tyler, what do you think?
What was the question?
Is Kurt Roper the issue with the offense?
Oh, not really. He's a large part of it. I mean, after 2 games, we weren't complaining at all. I'd like to see what occurs this week before I make that assumption. I don't think Kurt Roper's the problem right now. That was just an awful, awful game plan going in.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a mixture of it's not on one person, it's a mixture of everybody. Lack of execution, but definitely the lack of creativity. This is going to be a big week for Kurt Roper. This Louisiana Tech game, it may not be the premier matchup or the primetime game, but I need to see something from that offense. I need to see something from the play calling perspective. We need to see something besides a vanilla, very basic play calling. So, moving on from Reddit, this one comes from Fire Kurt Roper. You tell us how you really feel. Yeah, Fire Kurt Roper. Awesome. I think he made that username in the last 24 hours. Why can't we run the ball from under center on 3rd and short and 4th and short? Seems as if our offensive coordinator is shooting himself in the foot with all these unconventional play calls. I don't know. That is a great question. I mean, that's the thing they've talked about. We're practicing under center. We're going under center. We can play under center. 3rd and short and 4th and short seems like a really good time to go under center, in my opinion. And it hadn't happened. So,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I honestly may have made that Twitter last year at some point, and somehow they got the password. But like I said earlier, I don't know the X's and O's like they do. They get paid for it. There has to be some kind of reason for it, and I think it's going to be attacked tomorrow in the press conference. So by the time this is up, we may already know the answer.
All right, absolutely. This one comes from Reddit. Our good friend JS Hokie 1 Jake Bentley threw like 14 straight completions at some point. So why did we immediately turn and run through the right tackle 3 straight plays from the 2? It's not always fair to blame play calling and the OC for it all, but I feel justified in this case. Tyler, I'll let you tackle that one first.
That's another extremely swell question that I don't have the answer to.
Yeah, I'll say this, though. When you have the ball at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal, you should be able to run it in. You really should. I mean, you got to mix it up, yes. And I don't have a problem with running the ball so much as like the type of runs they were going to. It just –
and with your smallest running back in the game.
Right. Just wrong personnel, wrong play calling, all of it. So, I don't know. It's a great question. Comes from Reddit, Hot Pastrami 69. Does Roper not allow Bentley to audible out to a quick pass? There was a time in the third quarter we were 3rd and 1 and Debo was up top with a massive cushion on him. Could have easily picked up the first. Instead, we ran up the middle with A.J. Turner twice. Hot Pastrami 69. I know that, I mean, from what we've heard, Roper does allow Bentley to audible. I don't feel like I've seen him audible a whole lot. I mean, if he does, it's not noticeable at all. I don't know, Tyler. I mean, do you feel like you've seen Jake Bentley audible at all this year?
I haven't seen that at all. We used to see that a ton with other quarterbacks like Dylan Thompson and Connor Shaw, and even back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was calling audibles and checkdowns and stuff, but I haven't seen Jake Bentley do it once. We've like you said, we've heard him say, that he has the power to do it, and I don't know why he hasn't. But I mean, I guess he trusts the play that you call.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would like to see, Jake Bentley take control of the offense and audible, but I don't know. If he doesn't see it, you can't force it. But yeah, I haven't seen that at all this year. So I mean, I'm sure they allow him to do it, but he's got to do it. Our last one from Reddit. Wait, it is you say. Did the entrance have a calamitous glitch? I don't even know what that word is. Did the entrance have a glitch, or was it just me? The pyro malfunction alongside the Game Cox chant. It felt like a bad omen. Also, did the DJ actually feel any different? The atmosphere felt the same as it ever was. First thing, yes, there was a malfunction. Only one of the things went off. Tyler, I want to ask you about this. This was something that I heard a little bit about. I didn't really notice it. The Gamecocks chant being rushed. Is that something you noticed? Or?
I actually did, and I didn't think about it until I just heard. And literally, you just said that. It sounded like it wasn't like completely in sync. Like the wrong people were. Maybe it had something to do with the freshmen I was talking about that invaded the student section. I don't think they knew, which word they had to say.
Right.
There was something off about it. I don't know what it was, but there was definitely something off about it.
Kind of goes with the rest of the night.
Exactly.
And then I'll get your feedback too on the DJ. How'd you feel about the DJ? Did it feel any different? I mean,
I literally don't even know what the DJ did. I heard a turntable once or twice during after going into the third quarter. And I literally don't even know what else he did the entire game. The playlist was the exact same. All the sounds were the exact same. I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually in the turnstile right above where the DJ was. And, I'll be honest. I mean, it was cool having him in there, but I don't know. I don't know how limited. I feel like looking back at this game, there's so many new things they were trying to incorporate, and I just feel like it completely backfired. I mean – they dropped the ball on so many different things, and that's kind of
a water pressure problem in the bathrooms. People, right? I don't know what they couldn't do, but I heard that. I was like, "What?" I've been coming to games for like 20 years, and I've never heard that.
I mean, to be honest, it was just a bad day for South Carolina. The athletic department dropped the ball as well. I don't know. That's why I kind of say, when we had first talked about the 2001 interest and them adding the Flames, I said I didn't like it. People didn't understand why. It's like, because when you have a good thing, you just don't mess with it. And I mean, it would have looked cool with all of them, but at the same time, there's going to be hiccups and bumps in the road. But for them not have all that figured out and have the water pressure issues they had, and I heard that the traffic was absolutely terrible, worse than normal. They were having traffic problems. I heard that on 107.5 the game
today.
There
were 6 trains that went through Columbia in one day.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they got to work out, because that just can't happen on a game day. So, with that being said, we're pretty much going to wrap it up. Tyler, do you have anything for a post show or anything on your mind?
Clemson is extremely good. I don't want to play them at all ever again. They're going to coast through the rest of their schedule, and we're gonna see them in the playoff once again, probably the national championship again.
Yep. That's one
and
way.
Texas A&M is an absolute train wreck, and that's going to be a really interesting game.
Yeah, they look terrible in the first half. I thought Louisiana Lafayette might win the game, but
And what's up with LSU? All I saw was the score. I didn't see any of it.
So I felt good about Mississippi State in that game just because they're at home. And LSU, the first two games, who did they beat? BYU and Chattanooga.
Yeah, true.
They had a lot of problems last year too. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting. It's a long season, but also the ending to Florida Tennessee was nuts. I didn't see that until after the South Carolina game. That was crazy. Butch Jones, see you later.
Oh yeah, he's done so. I also put in my article today that Missouri is awful, and I don't feel good about that win at all anymore.
They're pretty bad. They got the brakes beat off them Saturday
by Purdue.
Yeah, 30. What was it? 35-3.
Yeah, it wasn't a good week for the SEC at all.
Nope, not at all. So we're that's pretty much gonna be all the time we have. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up with that. We'll be coming back not next week, but later this week, obviously, to preview everything with the Louisiana Tech game, break everything down with that, as we always do. Again, be sure to check us out on iTunes at the Spurs Up Show, rate and subscribe. Give us your feedback there. Follow us on Twitter at ArmchairSCar. Follow us on our Instagram account as well at ArmchairSCarolina. And check us out on ArmchairAllamericans.com for all of our latest breaking South Carolina news, all the articles, all of our content, as well as the show as well. But with that being said, Tyler, you got any last words? Anything else for all the listeners? Or
I'm sorry for my negativity. It always happens.
Hey, that's why you come to the Spurs Up Show, to get a little vent in. But yeah, again, he's Tyler Clark. I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you guys listening. We'll catch you next time.